Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. We have an exciting show for you tonight. Mr. Tim Pate is here to provide musical accompaniment with John Cornett. I'm happy to say Madeline Martinez of Oregon Normal will be here to join us and answer questions. We have a pretty extensive hemp news segment tonight. And I want to remind you that this show is a production of our nonprofit organization, the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, or THCF, and its affiliated political committee, CRRH, or the Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp, both of which are real mouthfuls to say, but we like the acronym. Anyway, we have some exciting video clips for you tonight, and lots of news, so stay tuned. Let's bring out the infamous dancing cannabis leaves. All right, our first story tonight is from La Jolla, California, down there in the burning area of San Diego County, California. And it's titled, Inhaled Cannabis Has a Biphasic Effect on Capsaicin-Induced Pain. Capsaicin-induced pain, I should say. According to a new study, inhaling cannabis is associated with both an increase and a decrease in humans' response to painful stimuli, according to clinical trial data to be published in the forthcoming issue of the journal Anesthesiology. Investigators at the University of California at San Diego, or UCSD, assessed the effects of smoked marijuana on capsaicin-induced pain in 15 healthy volunteers. Capsaicin is the active component of chili peppers. Participants in the trial inhaled cigarettes containing either cannabis of varying strengths or a placebo. Subjects who inhaled medium potency cannabis of about 4% THC reported that they experienced a significant reduction in capsaicin-induced pain 45 minutes after smoking. By contrast, subjects provided with high potency cannabis of 8% THC reported experiencing an increase in pain. The participants reported that inhaling low potency cannabis of 2% THC did not affect their pain response. Lead investigator Mark Wallace said in a UCSD press release, quote, "Our study suggests that there's a therapeutic window for analgesia, with low doses being ineffective, medium doses resulting in pain relief, and high doses increasing pain," end quote. A previous clinical trial conducted earlier this year found that smoking medium potency cannabis of 3.56% THC significantly reduced HIV-associated neuropathy, or nerve pain. The full text of this study, dose-dependent effects of smoked cannabis on capsaicin-induced pain and hyperalgesia in healthy volunteers, will appear in Anesthesiology. Our next story is from right here in River City, Portland, Oregon. Random drug testing may increase risks among student athletes, according to a new study, and the findings contradict what the White House's publication touting testing's proven benefits. Random drug testing programs that target high school athletes do not reduce self-reported drug use and may encourage greater risk-taking behaviors, according to findings published in the November issue of the Journal of Adolescent Health. Investigators from Oregon's Health Sciences University, or OHSU, performed the 2-year trial, which is the first ever prospective randomized clinical trial to assess the deterrent effect of drug testing and alcohol testing among high school athletes. The researchers found that students who underwent random drug testing did not differ in their self-reported drug use compared to students at neighboring schools who were not enrolled in the drug testing programs. Investigators also determined that students subjected to random drug testing were more likely to report an increase in some risk factors for future substance abuse compared to students who attend schools without drug and alcohol testing. Lead investigator Lynn Goldberg said in an OHSU press release, quote, "This was a state-of-the-art collection and testing program that exceeded those of typical school testing programs. If this did not show significant deterrent effects, less sophisticated programs are not likely to be more successful," end quote. A 2003 cross-sectional study of student drug testing previously reported, quote, "Drug testing as practiced in recent years in American secondary schools does not prevent or inhibit student drug use," end quote. However, critics of the study argued that investigators included schools with dissimilar drug testing policies in their comparison. Since 2005, the U.S. Department of Education has appropriated over $10 million to enact random student drug testing programs in public middle schools and high schools around the nation. The White House has repeatedly lauded the programs, claiming that, quote, "student drug testing has proven to be an effective deterrent in schools that have tried it," end quote. Obviously, that's not true. The full text of the study, Outcomes of Prospective Trial of Student-Athlete Drug Testing, the Saturn Study, appears in the Journal of Adolescent Health or online at journals.elsevier.health.com. The head of the Drug Enforcement Administration, or the DEA, Chief Karen Tandy, announced this week that she'll be stepping down as the agency's first female director. Tandy, who headed the agency for the past 4 years, will become the senior vice president of the Motorola Company. Motorola, a leading wireless and broadband communications firm, is the chief financial sponsor of the DEA's controversial exhibit Target America, which argues that illicit drug use sponsors international terrorism, including the September 11th attacks on New York City and Washington, D.C. During Tandy's tenure, DEA officials dramatically stepped up their efforts to target and federally prosecute medical marijuana patients and providers in California, as well as other states that allow for the drug's use under state law. In 2005, Tandy authored the DEA white paper, Marijuana, the Myths That Are Killing Us, which states, quote, "We need to put to rest the thought that there's such a thing as a lone drug user, a person whose habits affect only himself or herself. Drug use, including marijuana use, is not a victimless crime. Marijuana kills innocents," end quote. That's from the DEA, folks. Tandy also led extradition efforts against Canadian publisher and marijuana law reform activist Mark Emery, along with 2 colleagues, on charges that they distributed cannabis seeds to U.S. citizens. Tandy called Emery's arrest, quote, "a significant blow," end quote, to the marijuana legalization movement, noting that Emery's financially sponsored various drug liberalization campaigns in the United States. Extradition hearings for Emery remain ongoing. Neither the Bush administration nor the DEA have issued a public statement regarding Tandy's successor. Our next story is from Denver, Colorado, from the Rocky Mountain News. A retired Denver police lieutenant stood alongside marijuana activists Wednesday to endorse a November 6th initiative that would make adult possession of less than an ounce of cannabis the lowest law enforcement priority in the city of Denver. By the way, this show is the #1 cable access show in the city of Denver. I just like to throw that in every now and then. Lieutenant Tony Ryan said he's not advocating drug use, but that the city's resources would be better spent fighting violence and property crime rather than busting people for possessing small amounts of marijuana. The police lieutenant said, quote, "I was a street officer most of my career through the ranks, and homicide, rapes, assaults, domestic violence, and alcohol was involved in every one of them. Seldom is marijuana involved, and if it wasn't a cause as alcohol was," end quote. Detective John White, a police spokesman, said Ryan is a retired police officer who does not represent the positions of the Denver Police Department, end quote. Ryan, a member of Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, or LEAP, said he's not saying police should violate their oath to uphold the law. He said, quote, "They have to do their job, but they don't have to go out of their way to do it," end quote. The voters have been getting robocalls from Ryan in support of Question 100, which would deprioritize marijuana prosecutions there in Denver. Ryan identifies himself as a 36-year veteran, but not that he's retired. He's acknowledged that some people might think he's representing the police. He said, quote, "We talked about that, and some people might mistake that. I apologize if someone misconstrues that," end quote. So that was a story from the Rocky Mountain News. It was published just today. From California, we have the last story. Smoked cannabis eased pain induced in healthy volunteers. And, well, actually, that's going to be the end of our Hemp News segment for tonight. So how are you doing over there, Tim?
I am on top of the world, Paul.
Tell me about your pumpkin carving experience.
Well, I went down to Chinook Winds Casino last weekend, and let's see, I attempted a Guinness World Record for the fastest time to carve 1 ton of pumpkins, and in that process, the old world record was 4 hours, 17 minutes, and 26 seconds. I was able to do it in 19 minutes, 24.81 seconds. So
wow, you smashed it!
I smashed the world record by nearly 4 hours.
Wow.
Yes.
By, that's an incredible,
I
it's
smashed it.
like
Anyway,
just 1/10 of the amount of time you did it in compared
yeah,
to what
I
other...
did. Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it, too. They had a lot of coverage. There was a lot of newspaper, and I've had 13 hours of live TV on all the morning shows around town. It's been a busy month. I've carved 146 pumpkins so far.
All right.
Anyway, life does move on, but I'll find out. Everything is in London's hands now, so I'll find out soon whether I'm confirmed or not, and I'll let the world know as soon as I do.
All right.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool.
So you have a tune for us tonight.
We do have a tune. We're going to play a little ditty for you, if that's okay.
Please do.
All right, we will.
Thanks.
John? Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. So I'd like to introduce our viewers to someone who probably doesn't need an introduction to our long-term viewers. It's Miss Madeline Martinez, and I am very proud to say that Madeline, as the director of Oregon Normal, and I are the chief petitioners on the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act petition drive for 2010. We expect to start gathering signatures in mid-2008. So we're coming close to that. How are you doing this evening, Madeline?
I'm doing great, Paul. Thanks for having me on.
Glad to have you back.
Great to be here. I'm
Yeah.
excited about the Octa.
Me too.
Really excited we got to introduce it, or announce it rather, at the Normal Conference.
Exactly. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was really a lot of fun.
And then you won the Pauline Sabin Prize for the best woman activist in cannabis reform here in the United States.
Yeah, I did.
That was exciting.
Thank you.
Pauline Sabin, by the way, is a crusader against alcohol prohibition and was instrumental in getting that repealed. And so the award just kind of recognizes that you, too, are working for cannabis prohibition repeal.
Right, and it's about women in leadership, and that's exciting for me because finally to be recognized as a woman of color doesn't come easy, you know?
That's true.
So true. You're right.
But it's really, I thank them so much for it. It was a wonderful event, and Paul was there to support me, so that was really great.
Your husband,
Yeah.
Raphael? Was really
My husband was there. Yeah.
We had a lot of fun. It was kind of like old school reunion for me. I hadn't been to one in a number of years, so I got to see a lot of folks I hadn't seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, everybody was there. MPP, Drug Policy Alliance, Ethan Nadelman, just a bunch of people representing different organizations, all with the goal of ending adult marijuana prohibition. And, the war on drugs, which is a dismal failure, as we all know.
You know, if you're out there watching tonight, it's the 26th of October, 2007, as we're filming this. If it's not the 26th of October, there's no sense in trying to call in at this number. It's 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448, and we do have a caller here. So, hello, caller. You're on our show.
How are you?
Very well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I was calling in to kind of vent a little bit. He was actually a friend of mine, and he had extra space, and he was my caretaker, and he was a couple other people. He was another person of mine, and then he was his own caretaker or whatever, and he made some, like, I did a bunch of helping for him, and I did a bunch of this and that, and there was a bunch of promises, and he never came through, and he burnt me, and he burnt the other two people, so I just kind of wanted to...
That's a real shame. You know, that happens all too often.
And, well, it's like, I feel like because he even had us help him clean everything up, like it wasn't...
Oh, really?
Like he didn't produce.
And then once he got his harvest in, then he just kind of disappeared or something?
Well, he didn't disappear, he just... Well, like the other guy that he was caretaking for, he called the cops on him when he showed up at his house.
Uh-huh.
So, and that was... But
doesn't sound like you've been having much fun with this event.
What's that?
I said it doesn't sound like you've been having much fun with this one.
You know, that's a real shame. I personally had the police come to our garden, and we let them come on in. You know, normally on this show, I recommend you don't allow the police to search. We just had a fraction of the plants we could have had, and so the police counted them and went away, and so I was real happy about that.
Yeah, no, the current situation I'm in, I've had the police come, and they've seen my garden. It was actually a disgruntled, same thing. I don't know, somebody just that was jealous or mad or I don't know, and they sent the cops over here, and I let them see the garden, and they were totally fine because I was in my numbers. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that happen to you. You know, now you've got a. Is this an outdoor or an indoor crop?
Indoor. Yeah. Indoor crop.
Well, my condolences. I hope you can get things back together and get your...
Where is there like a website or something where I could throw his information? Like.
Sure. I mean, we have a patient-only forum on our website. I know Oregon Normal has a forum on their website, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to know not to trust that guy again. Right. And then also, Oregon Normal has the once-a-month meetings, which you're going to go to twice a month in January, where they help patients get plants and medicine. Right. And we donate to that, as do a lot of other people who are caregivers.
Come out and meet the rest of the community, and we're not all like that. There's a lot of us out there that are helping each other out, and it's not just about me, it's about we as a community. People are sharing, giving us, large amounts of medicine to give away, so it's really wonderful. You ought to come out. The next one is Saturday, November the 10th.
Is that at Mount Tabor Theater?
It is.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then this is a good time to segue right into the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards are coming up here in December.
Coming right up, yes. December the 15th, that's a Saturday. And also, where am I? I'm somewhere around here. Oh, here I am.
Camera one.
Yeah, it's December the 15th, as I said. It's at the Ambridge Event Center. And I think we're going to get a graphic up pretty soon about it. And I'm really excited about it. November 10th is the cutoff period, so we really want to make a major push. We still have a few spots left for entries. You need an ounce. Actually, you need 29 grams to give us for the evaluation. And what we're doing is we're taking an extra gram just for our poster. We have a beautiful poster that came out. Lex from Sky High Productions is going to do it again for us this year. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Cool.
It was really nice. So we're asking each grower to submit a show bud, their best bud for just that, 1 gram. And it's pretty exciting.
My
so,
best bud's a lot bigger than 1 gram.
I know.
May it ever be so.
Yes, they should all be bigger than 1 gram, but that's all we want for each judge to sample,
Right,
as you well
right.
know. So I want everybody to get their best, but even if it's a little tiny gram, it's got to look nice because that camera's going to make it look great.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
What
It's a
I'm
beautiful
doing
thing.
myself on that is turning in some of our bigger buds, but we're going to break them up. So that
We do have to break them up, but we'll give you everything you need. What we do is we provide all the entrants with their little kit, which is 29 bags, a bigger bag for your show, and then we just need you to put it in there yourself, because I think everyone should handle their own product. Say, this is what I'm submitting, so it's not altered or changed in any way. Everything's sealed, and we're using barcodes this year, Paul.
All right.
It's really exciting to use barcodes, you know? There's no question, no worry, no muss, no fuss.
Now, at the awards which take place, you have a number of exhibitors. I know we're there, and I've got some of our medical cannabis bottles that we exhibit and have information, as are most of the other organizations that help medical patients around the state. And you've got lawyers are going to be able to get continuing legal education credit, right?
Right. We're going to have a legal panel discussing all the different rulings that have taken place this year. The great one that THCF was involved in that quashed the subpoenas.
I'm very proud of that.
That was a great one, Paul. You're a hero to all of us, man.
Boy,
The fact that you didn't, kneel down to them and say, hey, you can take what you want. DHS.
I was supposed to shut up and just give them the records.
Right.
They came the wrong guy for that one.
They sure did. I'm telling you, I'm glad I'm your partner, baby.
Hey, I'm glad to do it.
Because, everybody else would have cowered in fear. And, if you don't cower in fear, remember when they came to the Doubletree to try to close down
When they
in
tried to stop,
2003?
what was that, the second or the third OMCA?
The second OMCA. They tried to stop it, and they said no. We said, no, heck no, we're not going to do it. And the ACLU
Came to your rescue.
That's
and
right.
It came to our rescue as well.
Yes.
We had our attorney, Ann Whitty, on top of quashing those subpoenas, but the ACLU wanted to get involved, and how could you say no to world-class lawyers like that? So
Really,
we
Graham
had a real
Boyd?
legal team. Yeah,
We had Graham
is-
Boyd come in and just come in here like a big tank and tell them, hey, step back over the line, folks. You have gone too far trying to stomp on people's First Amendment rights.
Exactly. Good.
Yeah.
If you're out there and you're watching tonight, Friday, November 26, 2007, you can call us at that number that's there on your screen. It's 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. And we'll be taking your calls right up to the top of the hour. Most Friday nights people can call in, but for the next few weeks, our producer his job is taking him to Thailand. He's going to go there and
nice.
train his replacements, actually. So hopefully he'll have a position when he gets back. But we got to thank William Appel, Bill.
Yeah,
for,
Bill.
Hey,
long
Yes.
time keeping this show going and being my right-hand man in video production. I'm really grateful. But we're going to have tape shows, though. We've gotten a lot of different video content together over the years that we never quite have time to show all of here on the TV show. But we have 4 tape shows coming up over the next 4 weeks, and we'll be back live on the 30th, the last Friday of November. So stay tuned for that. We have a caller, though. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello.
Howdy.
Hi. I'm a hospice nurse, and my husband is also a medical marijuana patient. And I've been asked a few times if anyone has tried the equipment in that it costs to purchase to grow your own medicine, if anybody has tried to take that off as a medical expense on their Oregon State tax.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely been done.
Is tax deductible.
But not just your Oregon State tax, but also your federal tax returns. That's been approved by the IRS.
Okay, so
In
we
fact,
need to keep all our receipts.
That's right. You need to reach that threshold to have a medical deduction. And once
Great.
you've reached that threshold, anything over and above that counts toward that. And you can include the rent on that part of your property, that part of your electric bill, in any other and all expenses, including seeing the doctor and your dirt and your everything you buy.
Wonderful. Well, I'm glad I finally got through because it's been a question I've been trying to get answered for a while.
That's a good question. I've known at least 24 people, probably significantly more, that have had that situation where they've claimed that successfully, and even in an audit, it stood up to an IRS audit.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, good deal. Well, keep up the good work, and glad to have you. I lived in Hawaii, in Maui, back in the day. I ran a hospice house for AIDS patients, and I used to have to take them out of the house to do their medicine before they recognized it over there. So it's nice to see that it, is legal and they can do it in the safety of their home.
Mm-hmm. We have doctors now seeing patients on 3 islands. We're about to start seeing patients in December in Maui for the first time.
Oh, wonderful. Have you been there?
Yeah, I just went there to Maui for the first time. I was stationed in Oahu back when I was a teenager in the Army, and spent a lot of time on the Big Island, but I hadn't been to Maui till just last month.
Well, I lived there 8 years. If you get a chance, Paul, you should pop in at the Maui AIDS Foundation in Wailuku.
I definitely will.
They're a wonderful group of people, and it's because of people like you that they're able to let their clients use it legally.
Great.
I personally don't have any pain, so I don't use medical marijuana, but I've been an advocate for years. I've been a hospice nurse for 25 years and seen the wonderful
seen a lot of people that it's helped.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, thank you for being there. And
thank you. Thanks for your call.
Okay, Paul, thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you. Yeah, it's really rewarding, especially in hospice situations. I have several of my patients who passed on, and several of them that are shut in just can't ever get out. Mm-hmm. And it's very rewarding to be able to help those folks. And
it definitely is.
He's going to make them happy, smile their last few days. It's always a good thing. Got to feel good about that. We have a little show and tell. Maybe I can get camera 2 to start focusing, and I'll just run through a couple of our nifty things here. Let's start right over here. We have a corn silk concoction from Britain. I have a collection of medical marijuana containers. Right now we're up to about 200 pieces now.
Nice.
And we have over 40 of them are for corns and are topical. And this is one of those from Britain. Now directly next door to that, this is from the Emerald Cross up in Seattle. And it is a topical salve that they produce, and I've heard patients say wonderful things about this. This is something that the Emerald Cross sells to patients up there, and that's one of those dispensaries up in the Seattle area. And so that's just a nifty container they have for that. It's really neat stuff. This is American Hemp, an 1880s bottle that's about half full. One of our newer acquisitions in the medical cannabis collection. It's got a broken off cork, and then this is another 1880 circa bottle, and right next to it you can see that it's mostly full. And this is a Albert's Rheumatic and Gout Remedy, and it says that it's used for chronic and severe pains, and you take half a teaspoon once a day in the morning and evening, or as the case seems to require. And so it's pretty nifty in that it comes in its box with a little pull-out and a handout that came with the original material. The next door we have this from Robbins and Company. It's Ergotin. It's a cannabis and ergot pill that was used for spasms and seizures. Then here we have a cannabis preparation from the Upjohn Company. The Upjohn Company is still with us today, and this bottle contained 1,000 coated pills for neuralgic pain. And this is another recent acquisition. I'm really happy to say it's about 3/4 of the way full, which I always like. It's cannabis compound from the Merrill Company. That's another company that's with us. So that's the end of our antique bottles. Now we go into some nutritional bottles. This is a hemp oil from Living Harvest. Our webmaster Aiko picked up this, and this hemp powder, that hemp protein powder, also from Living Harvest. Living Harvest, as some of you may recall, has that hemp milk out there that I just love. And then we have Manitoba Harvest's hemp protein powder directly next door to that. Manitoba Harvest also has a hemp milk out there. and I found them in Denver's Whole Foods and in Portland's, and they're just all over. They're getting out there more and more. I look forward to seeing them on all the shelves where they sell soy milk and those kind of things.
Right.
But that is the end of our show and tell or sharing session for today. But I always like to throw a few bottles out here to raise awareness that cannabis has been used as a medicine for 5,000 years. And up to the turn of the 20th century, about 1900, it was probably the most widely prescribed medicine. And it slowly has been replaced after it was outlawed in 1930.
And no one's ever died of a lethal dose of cannabis. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, there is no LD50 or lethal dose associated with cannabis.
Right.
I think the only thing anyone's ever died from is either a bail that might have fallen on them, or the cannabis laws have definitely caused a lot of pain and suffering.
You know, that was one of the reasons that I got into this. After 17 years in the crisis, working in crisis centers, and then 9 years running the Grateful Dead's rock medicine team, I actually was the buck stopper for the down tent. We brought everybody for 9 years. I never saw a hemp OD, not one cannabis OD. I saw everything else, but I never saw one of those. It's so convincing.
It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen.
Pretty convincing.
I have a couple of other things that are a little closer up for the show and tell session here, camera 2. We have a couple of flowers from the THCF Medical Gardens and some hashish here that was made. Now, we had this instance in Kaiser just last Monday where a patient was arrested for making hash oil, which is allowed.
Yes.
The judge in the case apparently read the warrant and issued a warrant on that. Now, I told the Kaiser Times that I thought that judge should be reprimanded by the bar, and he should have some sort of reprimand issued against his law license, because he issued a warrant without knowing or understanding or even reading the law. If he had read the law one time, he would have realized that hash is legal. And so here's a bud. Of course, these are untrimmed. Right next door, we have a couple different grades of hashish here that we've manufactured through the bubble process. We have a nice good ounce of it there. This is full melt hashish. It's called bubble hash because it just bubbles and melts when you light it. You can't just stick it in a pen under a glass like we used to do back in the 70s and 80s and even the 90s. But this stuff you got to put a little bit of cannabis under, and then you can smoke it. I prefer vaporization. It melts in my vaporizer too, not in my hand. And then, then finally, we have one more bud of crippled rhino here, and we have some footage that I think we're going to run here, I hope, that shows the illustrious Bill Drake, the author of that best-selling book that sold about 7 million copies back in the 70s, the Marijuana Cultivator's Handbook, in the THCF Medical Gardens. So stay tuned. Let's roll that tape. Have you ever been in a legal garden before?
Have I been in a legal garden?
No,
I haven't. I thought I heard. Have you ever been in an illegal garden before?
No, not illegal. Legal.
Hi, my name is Bill Drake, and almost 40 years ago, when I wrote the Cultivator's Handbook of Marijuana for the first time, I had no idea that in 37 years I'd be standing in a legal medical marijuana garden somewhere outside of Portland, Oregon. And I want to welcome everybody to Cannabis Common Sense Weekly and to the shows put on by the Oregon Hemp and Cannabis Foundation. Hope everybody is a member and is a contributor to the foundation, because without the foundation and without Oregon Normal and Voter.org and some of the other great
died. What happened?
Don't know.
Well, we've got to thank Scott Free. He got some of it there at least.
That was great. They said Oregon Normal and THCS.
Yeah.
So
That
hey,
was
I'm
all-
happy.
It was all that needed to be said, right?
What can I say? Say no more.
Right, exactly. But,
Bill
we've
Drake
got to
was-
thank Scott Free, our Denver office manager. He filmed that when he was back here for the Hempstock Festival
I was gonna
and
say.
just sent us the DVD. I'm not sure why it jammed up right there, but...
Well,
Now, Bill was back here for the Hempstock, too. He got to speak. So
Yeah,
it was good
yeah.
to see him on film again.
Yeah, it's real good. He is preparing a project for us in conjunction with Wolfie, our Michael Siegel, who used to be the manager of Hydrotech stores here in Portland, Oregon back in the 80s before he became the target of federal persecution. Oh, prosecution. Or persecution. And so anyway, he and Bill Drake and the THCF are working to come out with a new publication that will have a lot of experts from around the country pooling their talents and interests, and we'll have some books coming out soon. We have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show. Hi.
Hey, my name's Ryan.
Hey,
How
Ryan.
are you guys doing tonight?
Good. Very well. Do you know your name means Little
I wanted to call
King?
and talk about the recent laws being brought up in Congress in Alaska, but actually, had something else I wanted to ask, more of a fashion statement. Just kind of wondering where the guy on the right got his beret at.
Well, it's a nice beret. We've got
got it in
beret
Amsterdam.
envy going on here.
I got it in Amsterdam last year when I opened the Cannabis Cup for High Times magazine.
Yeah?
There was a haberdashery in downtown Amsterdam. It's really a nice one, and that's where I got it.
It's
I
real.
mean,
I've always been a fan of berets.
It's a real French beret. They call it beret over there. Over here we call it beret. But
Beret.
yeah,
Thank
you.
Okay. Well,
I didn't get it local. Sorry, I got it. I had to go to Europe.
all right, I gotta go. I gotta poop.
All right, gotta go. Have a good one. You have a whatever you got to do, guy. You know.
Right. Hey, you got his answer. You can't get it here local.
That's right. You just scared the. Well, I don't know. Let's not go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have something to say, Paul. I want to
Please.
encourage everyone out there to support the ACLU.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
their client is the Bill of Rights, and we have that's all we have for protection, folks. Our constitutional rights are being eroded every day, and we need you to send money to the I don't usually hawk stuff up here, but please support the ACLU.
That's true, because they helped us in many ways. Oregon's Normal's Medical Cannabis Awards have been allowed to go forward because of their efforts. They helped us quash the subpoena for 17 patients' records here recently. They
helped us with hemp stock.
They're doing things all over the country. I can't even begin doing it. They helped with our hemp stock festival. We probably wouldn't have had it this year if the ACLU hadn't threatened to sue the city of Portland. They're suing San Diego and San Bernardino counties in California to stop them from trying to circumvent California's medical marijuana law. They're doing They're helping in Alaska to reinstitute the Raven decision, and they're just it's just the tip of the iceberg, folks. And just in drug policy reform alone, there are a lot of other venues that they're helping people every day. So,
Right.
I agree.
Thank you.
Certainly. So if you're out there and you have a question for us tonight, give us a call at 503-288-4448. We got about 20 minutes left, so.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the history of the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards, if I may.
Please, please.
Yeah, I just want to let everyone know that years ago, 6 years ago actually, probably 7, someone came to me and said, Madeline, I've grown this particular strain, Northern Lights number 5, and it works particularly well for my husband's lower back pain, but doesn't do a thing for my fibromyalgia. So, consequently, the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards evaluation, strain evaluation, was, created. It just didn't make sense to go all the way to, not to say I don't like Amsterdam, nice. Never been there. But,
We have better pot here.
well, yeah, I heard that. And not only that, but the fact of the matter is, okay, you guys are confusing me. The fact of the matter is that this is the real strain evaluation because it's medical.
It's not like the one that High Times put on. This one is not rigged.
No, it's not rigged. And not only that, but you have almost a month to evaluate these strains. And that's really exciting because you need that kind of time. Sitting down and smoking 10 strains in one day, after the third one, you don't know what's going on.
If it's a good strain after the first one,
Well, exactly.
It's hard to tell.
So this way we really get a clear, evaluation of what works most effectively.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's where it's all about, and that's what it's become. Some people have called it a beauty contest, and I'm sorry, but that's not it. It's not a beauty contest. It looks real pretty and it smells real nice, but it's not a beauty contest.
It's you're testing the medicinal effect, obviously.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit more about you, Madeline. You've won the Pauline Saban Award now. You're a member of Law Enforcement Against Prohibition as well?
I am.
You've got a nifty gold badge that you could carry around.
I do.
That's got to be neat to be able to show that sometime.
Yeah, I have a nifty badge because I'm a retired peace officer from the state of California. I used to work for the Department of Corrections.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you ever run into marijuana people in jail, people who were just there for marijuana?
Well, I actually walked down the halls and counted women. You know, that was my job. I locked them up, counted them.
Made them buff the floors and
Took
all
them
that.
down
Caught 'em.
sometimes. Did some good stuff. Yeah, it was fun. Interesting. And anyway, I was walking down the hall one day during the count, and I said, gee, that smells familiar. You know, I'm a hood rat. I'm from East L.A., California. Just been there and, know all about marijuana. And here I smell it. Oh, yeah, they brought it in and much more.
Well, what I mean is not just that they brought it in, but were there people there in prison for marijuana crimes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What percentage of the folks that were locked up, the women that were locked up, were there for marijuana? Did you run into them very often?
Not very often.
Not very often?
Not very often. More often it was for hard drugs,
Right, right.
But no, I really didn't see a lot of that. Or that it was a significant role in why they were there. Most of the people in the state prison are there for some the women anyway.
Yeah.
There wasn't I didn't notice a large percentage. It was probably mixed in with the other drugs.
Right.
As they usually are, and that's what Octa's all about.
Yeah.
Is we're
getting
trying
it out
to,
of those other drugs.
Right, getting our kids away from the other drugs and getting them back to, going to a store and buying it when they're old enough to buy it. Because drug dealers, after all, don't ask for ID.
That's a fact. We set up the medical distribution of cannabis under the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act through the state pharmacies, and the state would be purchasing the crop and they would sell it at cost to patients. So I can see patients under OCTA obtaining cannabis at $10, $15, $20 an ounce. I know I just got my outdoor harvest in, and growing it outdoors is a lot cheaper than growing it indoors. And if you do it right, your plants produce quite a bit more. And so, and there's a natural balance. You have indoors, those tiny spider mites are insidious. They come in through the cracks in your airflow, where outdoors, the predators that can't make it indoors will come and eat those spider mites. So you don't have nearly the problem with bugs and pests and things. This year we had a problem with mold, but we just put tarps over ours and kind of half tubes, and that kept them nice and dry. Put some fans in there, and we didn't have much mold, not much mold at all. I heard that our Oregonian article last Sunday said that one person had lost 60% of their crop to mold. Ooh. Well, they should have covered it up, once the rain started. That's what we did. Actually, I still have one plant still outdoors.
Yeah, I know some people that have plants still out.
Yeah, I just have one, a DJ Shorts blueberry, that's still budding and isn't quite finished yet, but we'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, nice.
Exciting.
It is exciting.
We have another film clip we're going to roll here. We'll be back in just a moment, but enjoy.
Am I supposed to be talking right now? Okay, well, those are pumpkins that I actually carved. Those are the two pumpkins that weighed 1 ton. So their combined weight was actually close to 2,100 pounds. He's the official timekeeper right there. That's Steve Wessing. He's holding up the clock. It says 1924.31. And that was done out at Chinook Winds Casino this last weekend. And there I am wiping off all of the pumpkin goo on me.
All right.
Everybody's screaming and hollering. Apparently, I just finished. Oh, my head is on the right pumpkin, and I'm going because that was really quite an exercise, actually.
Those are some pumpkins.
Yeah, they really are very.
Those
big.
are the great pumpkins, Charlie Brown.
I know they really are, and I did that, and that was fun. Anyway, the mayor of Lincoln City and one of the city councilmen were my witnesses, and. Had a lot of people there enjoying it. I didn't expect that. That was a surprise to me.
Pumpkin carver extraordinaire.
That was fun. That was a fun weekend.
Yeah.
Great job.
All right. Well, congratulations for smashing the record. And it went from, what was it, 4 hours
4 hours,
plus?
17 minutes, 26 seconds. Went down to 19 minutes.
So you basically cut almost 4 hours.
Yes.
Just a couple minutes shy of 4 hours.
I put that brag out on NBC, ABC, and CBS, so I really had to back it up,
Yeah.
Once you start bragging,
well, that'll be a hard one to beat.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I think you said a good one.
I hope I don't have to back that one up for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I don't think
Good
you
job.
will.
Thank
Good
you.
work there, Tim. Well, we're down to about another 12 minutes to go. So if you have a call for us, call us at 503-288-4448. Hey, we have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hi, Paul and Madeline. This is Kelly, and my husband is a Oregon patient, and he actually experienced taking Marinol for 3 to 4 weeks, and I know that Kevin Mannix is largely going with a plan to try and get everybody on a synthetic drug, and I can tell you the side effects were tremendous. And I just have some questions about what can we do without putting our name too far out there for scrutinization in just constant harassment in telling our story to other people so that they can avoid some of the side effects, which include seizures and all kinds of horrible things.
I think writing that up would be really a valuable asset. You know, writing it up anonymously, and then we could disseminate it in our efforts to stop Mannix's bill. Right now, I know that it's all tied up in challenges to the ballot title. It's not out in circulation yet. So we're hoping to stop it there. But it's really clear that this bill is mainly targeted at the Oregon Medical Cannabis, or the Medical Marijuana Act, because first they filed it with 19 other provisions, and they filed it again with just 3 other provisions, but it still included the medical marijuana reconstruction of that program. So it's something that they're clearly targeting, and we need to find out their funding sources. But if you could write up your experiences with these synthetic patented cannabis drugs, that would be very helpful.
Well, he's a member of NORML as well, so is it something he can just write up and give to Madeline at the next meeting?
Sure.
Yeah.
And also, I would suggest, Kelly, that you maybe write a letter to the editor. You know, the Oregonian, write a letter to the editor and submit it to them. It has to be 150 words, if I'm not mistaken.
Or less,
Or less. Okay. And so go to their website and find out what exactly the requirements are, and let them know what's going on out there.
Because we travel a lot, and I was looking at other avenues so that we're not limited to the state of Oregon in terms of our vacation. And so we were looking at other options because my husband has actually 5 of the conditions that are under the Oregon medical patient. And so it makes it difficult to try and travel anywhere else with that medicine a necessity for survival, really.
Mm-hmm. I haven't had any problem traveling with a Kelly, quite frankly. I've put it in my purse and gone to the airport and gone right through X-ray, gone on the plane.
When you're traveling out of Portland, as long as you have your medical permit with you, they will allow you to travel out with it. Now, they don't really search you when you land at the airport, so you're probably okay any other place. But I would recommend when you go through the security coming back that you minimize what you might carry. Because you don't have a permit in that state. I personally am trying to change the law in Hawaii so that they will allow patients with cards outside of the state of Hawaii to... I ran into a little trouble at the Lihue Airport on Kauai, and they seized my medicine, but I'm working on getting that back right now. So we'll see what happens.
I travel there quite often, and so it's always like, well, we're on the plane back home, so it's time to just, get the medicine out, because I don't ever want to be involved in an airport situation. So.
Yeah, it was it wasn't very pleasant. They were real nice, they didn't really search me. They never went through my pockets or anything there in Kauai. They were all, you've got to go to the legislature, man, and change this law, and so...
Sure you weren't in Jamaica?
No, this was Hawaii and Jamaica. They play reggae just as much in Hawaii as they do in Jamaica. Let me tell you that. We advertise on a reggae radio station in Oahu too.
It's just that the guitar is a little bit different in Hawaii, right?
Yeah, well, the card, it's for the same conditions. They based the Hawaii law on Oregon's earlier law. So it's exactly the way Oregon's law was before Madeline led the charge to increase the number of plants and the amount of medicine patients can keep. You can have 7 plants in total. 3 of them can be flowering, and you can have up to 3 ounces. But to get a Hawaii card, you have to have a Hawaii driver's license and residency.
I understand. One other question that I have for you.
Now, in Montana, if you travel to Montana, the law in Montana says if you have a card from any other state, you're covered in Montana, too.
So
There's-
in terms of our bordering states, California and Washington do not recognize Oregon cardholders. Is that
Well,
correct?
technically they don't, but again, I got to give you a personal anecdote in terms of being stopped in Washington State. The state trooper there saw my medicine and sent me on my way and let me keep it and didn't bother me.
Okay.
Told me I was doing good work.
One other question that
Depends
I have.
on the officer you run into.
I understand. It's all in their own, what kind of officers they are. One other question that I have is, for definition on Oregon, the 6 plants, is that defined by flowering plants if they are less than 12 inches? If they're in flower, it would be considered one of the 6?
Yes, exactly right. If the 18 plants that are less than a foot tall and less than a foot wide have to be in the vegetative state and can't be flowering.
Perfect. Thank you both. You're doing a great job.
Thank you,
Thank
Kelly.
you. Thanks for a lot of good questions here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I want to take this moment to put in our little plug, as we always do, in that we have a referral service for physicians throughout the western United States and coming soon maybe even to the eastern United States. But for now, we have doctors throughout California, throughout Oregon, Washington, Colorado, and Hawaii who can help patients get a medical marijuana permit. So if you have one of the qualifying conditions, which include chronic pain, chronic and severe nausea, AIDS, cancer, glaucoma, spastic conditions like multiple sclerosis, seizure disorders like epilepsy, gastrointestinal ailments like GERD or IBS, then you would qualify for medical marijuana throughout these Oregon, Washington, California, Colorado, and Hawaii, and Nevada. So if you need a physician referral, you can call us. Here in Portland, our Portland number is 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. Up in Seattle, the Seattle number is 206-878-1701. That's 206-878-1701. If you're in Denver, and I like to remind our viewers, this is the top rated show in Denver on cable access, then you can call our Denver office at 303-403-9996. That's 303-403-9996. Finally, if you are outside of the Portland, Seattle, or Denver metropolitan areas, then we can refer you to doctors throughout the western United States simply by calling our toll-free number. And that toll-free number is 1-800-723-0188. Once again, 1-800-723-0188. All right. We have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on our show.
Hi, my name is Paul, and I appreciate and enjoy your show. I want to say hello to all you guys.
Thank you.
Wanted to share a bit of trivia with you, and the fellow that answers the phone in the control booth was aware of this. In front of you, the tiny bottle you pointed out, the dark brown one, the first one I think that had tablets in it, one of the ingredients was called ergot.
Yeah, ergot, which is the ergot fungus from which they extract LSD.
Well, you're way ahead of me, but I thought I'd share that with you. And even still today, I believe there's still a refined pharmaceutical application for that, the ergotamine tartrate. I don't know exactly what the indications are for that or how it might be used. But anyway, I very much support the organization and Oregon NORML and all of the beliefs and philosophies and mission. And hope to get involved. I'm relocated here after having evacuated from New Orleans as a result of Hurricane Katrina, but I enjoy the Portland area. I consider myself now a permanent resident. And by the way, am enjoying my brand new vaporizer I bought today on 82nd Avenue in the Northeast section. And,
I love my vaporizer.
Well, I will let you guys go then, and thank you very much, and look forward to the next festival or gathering or something I might be a part of. And
that Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards is coming right up. What's the date on that?
That's Saturday, December the 15th. And I'd like to remind everyone that the founder of NORML, Keith Strop, will be there. He will be speaking on our legal panel, so we're really excited about that. Come out there and support Papa NORML. That's what I call Keith. He's so fabulous. What can I say about the guy who started it all?
He is a walking history book. And has known everybody involved in this movement for many years. So I'm proud to have met him myself a few times. So I'll look forward to having a little more private time.
He told us that we have the top chapter. Okay, this was amazing to me in the world, because they're in New Zealand and they're in Japan and Australia.
Canada.
Yeah, and so we're in the world.
The number one chapter in the world, and I can see why.
Yeah, thank you.
We've got Madeline, the dynamo. So we are clocking down here with just a few minutes
Tick,
left.
tick, tick.
Yeah.
I want to wish everyone a happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself. Be careful.
And also,
Smoke and drive.
you know, our next live show isn't going to come on until November 30th. We are going to have tape shows and a lot of interesting film clips to show to you over the next 4 weeks as our producer, Bill Appel, goes to train people in electronics in Thailand. But we will be back with another live show after Thanksgiving. So I also want to say, have a happy Thanksgiving as well. You know, it's coming up.
Hey, and call Congress while you're out there. Make a phone call, take a minute, call Congress, let them know that we want relief for medical marijuana patients, and we want to legalize marijuana for adults.
Yeah, we want to see the passage of the state's rights to medical
If we all
marijuana
call
law.
them, we could change it.
That's right.
So do it.
All right. Well, I want to thank all of you for watching. We're going to go out with the music and tunes of Mr. Tim Pate and Mr. John Cornett, and some wonderful views from the THCF Medical Cannabis Garden. So thanks for watching. Tune in next week and help us restore hemp. Good night.